If you're a woman who cares about aging cognitively well, this one's for you.
This is evidence of what women have been saying all along. Menopause changes the functionality of your brain.
It looked there like the brain was basically shrinking.
I am Dr. Lisa Mosconi, and I have a PhD in neuroscience and nuclear medicine, which is a branch of radiology where we use brain imaging techniques to study the functionality of the brain, the biochemistry of the brain, and we can really deeply explore how the brain changes at different times in a person's life.
What do we need to know from a very top-line perspective about the impacts of menopause on the brain?
Menopause is actually a renovation project on the brain. And the vast majority of women will experience brain symptoms or neurological symptoms during menopause. So when women say that they're having hot flashes, night sweats, insomnia, anxiety, depression, brain fog, 2/3 of all women going through menopause experience brain fog and memory lapses. And those symptoms, yes, they are related to menopause, but they have nothing to do with the ovaries.
You're basically leading the way as it relates to understanding a woman's brain, especially as it relates to menopause.
My specialty used to be at least Alzheimer's prevention. What most people don't realize is that Alzheimer's disease affects more women than men. So almost 2/3 of all Alzheimer's patients are women, particularly postmenopausal women. And so my PhD thesis actually was to show that Alzheimer's disease is not a disease of old age. It's actually a disease of midlife with symptoms that start in old age. So what happens is that Alzheimer's starts in the brain with negative changes that take years to reach a certain threshold before the damage is so severe that people start losing their memories, they can't come up with words, they have attention deficits. But in reality, Alzheimer's starts for many people in midlife. If Alzheimer's starts in midlife and more women than men end up with Alzheimer's disease, what happens to women and not men in midlife that could potentially explain the higher lifetime risk of Alzheimer's disease for women? And so we went back and we asked all the women in our study about their menopausal status and their menstrual cycle and their symptoms. And then what we found is this, that if you compare a group of premenopausal women to men of the same age and look at their brain scans, there are no differences or very little differences. But if you look at women who are perimenopausal and compare them to men of the same age, you see an increase in the amount of Alzheimer's plaques in the brain already in midlife.
In perimenopause?
In peri, so not even in menopause. And then after menopause, when we compared postmenopausal women to men of the same age, then the difference was quite striking. This is new research, relatively new research. It's also the only research still that looks at changes in women's brains as a woman goes through the different phases of menopause. So this is what's happening to this brain. So this is before menopause, when everything is nice and red and bright. And as you can see, changing, the red is turning yellow and the yellow is turning green. And after menopause, the entire brain scan is a lot greener.
What does that mean? Because it kind of looks like some of the lights are going off.
Yes, no, exactly. That's a really good interpretation. What that means, quantitatively, that's a 30% drop in brain energy levels before going through menopause. No.
People don't know this?
No, people don't know this. Many little structures in the brain and in the rest of the body, they're called mitochondria.
Yeah.
And they're responsible for converting cellular energy into ATP, which is a usable form of energy or the energy currency of all cells. We have found that there's basically an ATP crisis in a woman's brain as most women go through menopause, where ATP is just not produced as much as it used to, or perhaps is used too fast. Like the brain just can't quite meet energy demand. So as far as I know, this is the first study that shows that that there are very specific changes in the brain that strongly associate with having or not having brain fog. That is the first step to then clarifying why certain women have it and certain women don't have it, and how can I make it better, right? Is it hormones? Is some other kind of therapy? How can I reverse it? How can I prevent it?
So sleep is super critical here.
It is really important.
There must be a pretty strong link between people who don't sleep much and Alzheimer's as well then.
There is a link, yes. It's been explored and it seems to be consistently significant across studies. And dehydration is a problem for brain health. So the brain is 80% water, which is more than everywhere else in the brain. And water is crucial for every single chemical and cellular reaction to take place inside the brain. So the brain is the one organ that is especially sensitive to the effects of dehydration, where even a 2 to 4% water reduction of water volume loss can prompt neurological symptoms. And I will also say that water isn't just water, right? A lot of people drink purified water. That's not water, that's just fluid. So your brain doesn't just want something wet.
So we heard two things in that podcast that were really interesting to us here at Source. The first is that you need great hydration and that not all water is created equal. Just listen to Dr. Huberman talk about this really quickly to understand how hydration within the brain can be achieved.
If the pH of the water that you drink is too low, that is, if the water that you consume is too acidic, it will not move as quickly from your gut into the other regions of your body, and therefore the other cells of your body that require that water will not be able to access it as readily. You've probably experienced this if you've consumed certain water and it feels like it's sloshing around in your stomach, or it feels like it's just somehow staying there, or you feel its presence more, not just as volume, but it's almost as if you can feel the little waves of water along the inside of your gut. And it turns out it is true that water that is more alkaline can move more readily across the aquaporin channel, which turns out to be a very interesting but also potentially important thing to do for not just reducing inflammation, but also making sure that you're getting proper hydration of different cell types in your body, including rapid hydration of your brain cells, which can greatly enhance cognitive function.
And then the second part was actually around the mitochondria function within your brain in order to create ATP and allow your brain to function at its optimum. Now, we know with the negative charge of structured water, and Source has a negative charge of minus 175 ORP, that this helps to recharge the water within the mitochondria.
We found that the properties of this water were vastly different. And one critical difference is that the water was charged. Ordinary liquid water is not charged. Yes. It's neutral. And, that constitutes a battery. It means that it's possible that water in some state, the fourth phase state, contains energy. And if our cells are deficient in EZ water, our cells are not functioning properly. It's as simple as drinking more water or drinking perhaps the right kind of water.
And because of the science that we're learning, it made us ask the question here at Source, why are we getting consistent feedback from perimenopausal women saying their brain fog is gone, hot flushes are gone, they're getting consistent great sleep, and basically they feel like themselves again. I mean, it's phenomenal results, but the science is all starting to link together. And we know there is so much more research to be done on this, but these early signs and these early learnings on the research is very encouraging for us. If you'd like to listen to the entire podcast, we've linked it over in our bio. It's The Diary of the CEO with Stephen Bartlett and Lisa Mosconi.